to this new episode of Inspirations, my podcast about knitting and yarn dyeing. I'm Christelle. I'm a French indie dyer. I live in Normandy. And if it's the first time watching the podcast, thank you so much. So there is a new podcast every Monday at 5, a newsletter sent out every Monday at 5, and usually at least twice a month, there's a shop update. It's on a Monday and it's at 5 also, so that's today. Today I wanted to, and if you're a returning viewer, sorry, thank you so much, I hope you're doing well. So today I wanted to walk you through the new colorway for this month. So I have this club, I've been having this club for now over 2 years, 3 years. It's been more than 3 years now. That's called the Sock Knitters Almanac, and every month I'm coming up with 2 new colorways anchored in a theme that I'm sharing with you, and then I'm sharing also all the projects that I knit with my yarns and others' yarns also. So there will be a part also dedicated to projects in this episode. I'm very happy to be able to share with you progress on my knitting. So let's dive in, okay? The Sock Knitters Almanac for March. So it's been a while. I've been thinking about this for a while. There is this very fascinating place to me called the Isle of Skye. So if you're watching from Scotland or the United Kingdom, I think you might be very familiar with the place. But I mean, I'm pretty much interested in every part of Northern Europe with a Celtic heritage. And actually, I was absolutely blown away by the pictures of the Isle of Skye, because it came into my radar because, you know, I love Neil Gaiman as a writer. I've read a lot of his books, and I came to know that he had actually a house there, and he found the place very inspiring. So out of curiosity, I checked the place out, and I was like blown away by the place. I mean, the scenery is incredible, definitely, but there is something pretty strong when you look at the this is the mood board for the colorways. When you look at the place, like, it has this strong Lovecraftian, almost Lovecraftian vibes, with all the you know, pointy rock thingies all over the place, like the very dark stone, the cliffs, very dark cliffs, and these beautiful landscapes of this greenery all over. And it's like the place is fascinating but also a bit scary, actually, like you're not quite at ease, like it's way above your, you know, tiny human existence kind of vibe, okay? Like Cthulhu could definitely appear or manifest itself on the outer sky, just be the perfect background for it. You see, that's the kind of vibe. So I don't really want to visit that place. I think I would be kind of scared, actually, but in a good way, you see. I don't know if that makes sense, but yeah, I'm maybe romanticizing too much, and I know that some actual people live there, you know, and there's lovely also port towns with lots of colors and not scary at all. But the rock formations, the dark rock formations, are, I think, kind of Lovecraftian, okay? And that inspired me a lot, and that's the inspiration for the colorway of this month, actually, which is simply called Skye. Here it is. And I wanted to explore, as a dyer, I wanted to explore something very saturated, starting with a black base and with different shades of different nuances of brown. So some very cold, some more warmer, and, you know, play with the colors in that way. And the way I'm layering the different colors for the almanac and doing a lot of speckling as well. So it's a very, very complex colorway with lots of subtle nuances. And So I'm going to share the bases with you. This is on extra fine fingering. So you kind of see the warmer shades of brown here, the grey, the black. So yeah, I think it would be the perfect colorway to serve as a background color for a you know, stranded colorwork sweater, like the Alpine Bloom sweater, for example. This is on BFL. This is BFL and silk. So silk has this tendency to make the colors lighter, appear lighter. So it's more a grayish yarn, whereas on other bases it's more like your very deep brown and grey and charcoal grey. This is on tweed fingering, and the last base I wanted to share with you guys is a new one. It's called Exmoor fingering, and it's what would be the closest to a short circuit yarn in my shop, because I sourced this in the UK. It's from UK grown sheep breeds, and spun in the UK as well. So we don't have that. We don't have that kind of yarn really in France. It's, yeah, you could argue there's Fonty, for example, but I've reviewed their bases, and mostly it's more like thick. It's thicker than the sock yarn, and this is really a sock base with the composition is 60% superwash Exmoor, Exmoor blue face, 20% superwash Corriedale, 10% Swartbills, and 10% nylon. So this is the kind of yarn that you can definitely use for socks, resistant enough for socks with the nylon, and superwash. So it takes the dye beautifully, and I love it's actually a bit loosely spun, like it evokes like a woolen spun really, and it's actually it has this beautiful halo. This is the yarn undyed, and you see because of the Swartbills, which is very hard to pronounce first of all, and then I think black, it gives this lovely grey color. Yeah, I really love that new base, so I hope you would too. It's actually a bit on the drier side. It's soft. It has a soft hand, but it's a bit dry. I think it's closer to Bluefest Leicester than it is to Merino, for example, in terms of feeling. And then the other colorway for this month is called Fairy Glen, and it's green. So this was inspired by the other aspect that I find striking on the Isle of Skye, is this kind of places. This one is called actually Fairy Glen, and you can see those concentric circles. It's difficult to date them. Maybe they're Pictish, maybe they're Celtic, maybe they were tampered with in Victorian era, so it's very difficult to date them. And also all the heritage around the Pictish people, actually we don't have any written history for them, so it's quite fascinating actually. And the thing is, they're known for their beautiful carvings on stone, and all over Scotland, Ireland, and Brittany, French Brittany, but we know the names of their kings and all because they were battling against the Romans, and that's actually why the Romans built the Adrian Wall to start with, to fight off the Pictish from Scotland. But we don't have the equivalent of the Rosetta Stone that enabled us to decipher hieroglyphs for the Pictish symbols, and so we don't have any clue about what they mean. And I found that quite fascinating as a mystery, right? And so the whole, you know, thing about this month's colorway were inspired by the Isle of Skye, but also with in mind the Celtic and Pictish heritage of the place. So Fairy Glen, different bases again. This is on BFL. This is an extra thin fingering, so lots of different nuances of green as well. Some more yellow, some very bright green. I can't wait to you know, to swatch the colorway. As soon as I'm finished filming the podcast, I'm going to cake it up on the Exmo base. This is the same base Exmo fingering with a different color, and you see how deep the colorway is. It's absolutely gorgeous. Oh, I can't wait to sample it. And this is on tweed fingering, so I did not include any you know, sparkling bases for the prototype batch, but I'm not shying away from it. Actually, I'm going to dye some tomorrow. The thing is, I think I wanted to explore more like more rustic bases for those colorways, because I wanted to get the colorways as saturated as I could. I also wanted to see how they would you know, behave with silk, because it's important, as I'm, you know, doing pre-orders, that you guys have a clear idea on how the colorway is going to look on something like with such a huge amount of silk. For BFL and silk is 45%, and it has an influence on the way the colorway looks at the end. So I wanted that to be very clear, so that you're not disappointed when you put your order in. You know that if you're ordering BFL and silk, it's going to be lighter than what you can see on BFL extra thin fingering. Yeah, and as soon as I'm done with that, I've already dyed some quantities for the upcoming pop-up shop that I'm going to hold on Saturday, this coming Saturday, at Au Mouton qui Tricote in Dreux, which is not far from home, which is good, you know, 1 hour and a half drive, I think. So I'll have some quantities with Deborah on Saturday. And I want to cast on for something in the same universe. It's the New Grange shawl pattern by Lucy Hagg. And I think it's such a gorgeous piece. And I love how she worked with, you know, the cables and slip stitches to recreate this beautiful, like, Celtic / Pictish inspired motif, and she actually shares on her blog the motifs and the carvings she took the inspiration from, and it's really interesting. I will put the links in the show notes, but I'm definitely casting on with this one. I'm going to use the new base, the Exmoor fingering, for this one, although it calls for spot weight, but I'm going to cast on with a fingering weight. Doesn't matter really, it's a shawl. And I'm going to adjust the needle size, obviously. And then Michelle, who's working with me, she has chosen Fairy Glen, so she's going to work with that colorway, but she wanted to knit with Selena instead. So we'll be sharing our progress, because, you know, that's a good thing when you're working with, you know, like a friend and a knitter, and you can decide to do some little cars together. It's so cool. So that's in the pipeline for the projects, but now I want to share with you what I've been working on over the past 2 weeks. So despite having announced having, you know, a podcast last week, I didn't, because I'm, you know, experiencing a lot of ups and downs these days, with my mom being still hospitalized and not faring very well. So I decided to go along with the flow and record when I feel up to it, and when I really don't feel up to it, I don't force it. You know, I need some time to process all of the raw emotions and make sense of it all. It's a bit difficult. It's completely impossible to make sense of anything. But anyway, I'm trying. And so no podcast last week. It might come again in the future, that I will announce doing a podcast, and then at the last minute I will not be up to it. I mean, we're all human after all. So I was feeling a bit better today. It's not stellar yet, but feeling a bit better. And as always, I really love recording the podcast and talking to you guys. it actually makes me feel better. So, and I love talking about knitting and yarn for hours. Okay, projects. So the first one, 2 weeks ago I started a sock out of my February colorways. I wanted to fade both colorways, so that's wintering and soleil d'hiver, into one another, and that's it. That's the whole concept of the thing. It's a vanilla sock, but I wanted to fade the colors into one another and have, you know, the chunks of one color here and here separated by stripes of both colors to fade the one into the other. I'm pretty happy with how this is turning out. It's a sweet little sock. I'm really enjoying the colorway, and it's your basic, very basic sock. So that's one project. Then I made progress on the second sock of this design. It's out of my February colorways from last year, 1983, so that's 1983, and tennis ball, the neon yellow. And so I'm knitting the second side of the sock using, you know, scrappy neon color scraps of yarn. So halfway through the leg, and then it's stockinette stitch until the toe. So making good progress on that as well. And this will go perfectly, this will pair perfectly with my broadleaf sweater. I'm almost done with the sleeve. I'm about to start the cuff, so changing to smaller needles and knit the 2x2 cuff. I think the sleeve looks kind of skinny, but it's the design that's like this, because it's very boxy with you know, skinny arms, so that it's not an oversized sweater really. So yeah, it's gorgeous. This is the front. This was a labor of love, guys. This was really a labor of love. I've started that a year ago, so I've knitted on it on and off. Obviously I've not knitted exclusively on that for the past year, but I'm really happy that it's almost done. I won't be able to wear it for next Saturday. I don't think so. Who knows? Who knows? I'd love to. Then the other thing I made good progress on, but less than I wanted to, is my Wisdom of the Moon. Oh my god, sorry guys, I have to stop here for a minute. I have all the stitches going loose. Okay, I lost like 8 stitches, guys. This is Wisdom of the Moon. So I decided I would, you know, knit 5% of the shawl per day and be finished by beginning of March. And then it clicked in that this is stranded knitting, and it's much slower. I'm so slow knitting. It's not 5% that I'm, you know, knitting away every day. It's a row. I'm happy when I'm knitting a row on that, okay? Stranded knitting is really not natural to me yet. I've been, you know, striving to get there for like an eternity, like always, but not there yet. I'll get there one day, okay? I'm just experiencing the, you know, testing out the Ladderback technique. So that's the very first stitch here. And you see, it will enable me not to wave my yarns, my floats, and to avoid the contrasting yarn peeking through when there are a lot of yarn from the contrasting color, like here, for example. You can see it peeking through. Okay, so the Ladderback technique, Ladderback Jacquard technique, enables you to avoid that. So for the time being, I've added 3 stitches. I'm going to put the link to the tutorial in the show notes if you're interested. But look at how tidy it looks. I love how tidy it looks. It's like a little X, you know. And I was procrastinating on that so much, guys. I think I'm afraid of stranded knitting, actually. Anyway, so 1 row a day. 1 row a day. That's my objective for this shawl. Nothing more. I'd be happy if I'm doing 1 row a day. It's not an infinite number of rows. I think there's like 30, so maybe 2 rows a day, just to speed up the process a bit because it's going to be long. What else? Yeah, my stunning string projects. I want to share them with you. So those are the mystery cards. So if you don't want to be spoiled, just look away, okay? I'm going to share first the first mystery card for the year. So that's the one for the January, February, March. The first mystery card of the year. So that's only 3 months. 8 clues, and it's actually finished. But because I received the yarn later, because I ordered the yarn later, I didn't start with everybody else. So I'm actually at I'm starting with week 3 now, and it's already finished for the others. So this is the image, the inspiration image, and it's actually mosaic, which is quite soothing to knit. I like it very much. This is clue 1 and clue 2, and you see you have a bit of beads as well here. And I'm not used to, you know, knitting mosaic, so I'm really enjoying myself. I find it very soothing, very interesting. Kind of knits up quickly, so I'm really enjoying this project. So yeah, week 1 and 2 are done, and there is another mystery cow in the club. This one is a year-long mystery cow. It's called Wanderlust. So I think in the previous episodes I shared, episode 5, I shared the yarn and the general info of the project. So now I'm going to share with you. This is the year-long mystery cow, and so I've knitted January and February, so I'm all caught up for this one, which is cool. And I'm about to start March, actually. So this is the first and second clue, January and February. There you go. So it's a very delicate lace shawl with seed stitch here and beads again, and beautiful lace. So again, very enjoying myself. It's pretty simple. So no difficulties here. I love how Cindy is actually writing the instructions per section, so it's pretty easy to follow and to memorize. So yeah, I'm really enjoying both projects. The yarn is lovely, the colors are lovely, so yeah, it's my recreation. And I think that's it for this month, guys. So colorways of the month are in the shop. Again, I'm going to show you both colorways on the new base Exmoor fingering, and that's the 2 beauties I'm about to, you know, cake up actually. And I want to sample them this week and have them sampled for the pop-up shop next Saturday at Degrés. So yeah, there you go. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I will be seeing you, I hope, next Monday. What I'm going to put in the shop next Monday also, I'm just going to share it with you very quickly, and I will take more time next week. You know, I've been doing the Almanac for like 3 years now, over 3 years. This is the 4th year, and so this is the colorways from March from previous years. So those will be available as pre-orders in the shop next week, next Monday. So here's year 1, Lucky. That's year 2 on 2 different bases. Actually, you have Brocéliande, that's the name of the colorway, on a merino's, your usual merino base. Can see the different colors, and then I dyed it also on an yak sock base, and I really love how the colorway appears to be very saturated, but still with lovely nuance when you're knitting it. Not at night, unfortunately. If you're knitting it at night, you won't see the nuances. But in broad daylight, you can see them pretty well, and it's lovely. This is Ostara, so that was last year. And it's contrasting color, whoops, Rabbit Moon. There you go, Rabbit Moon and Ostara. So those colorways will be available as pre-orders next week in the shop, as well as the month colorway. And I'm really enjoying doing this, you know, having all the little samples and looking back to what I did the previous years. And you can tell there's a pattern to March. Yeah. Green is definitely a returning inspiration for March, right? Green and brown, I'd say. So yeah, happy knitting, have a lovely week. I'll see you next Monday. Bye.